Oh, hey Tiffany.
Hey Eric, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. You keeping cool in here?
You know it, we got an AC running, can't complain.
Love it. Well, what do you recommend for a first timer at your shop?
Alright, well this is our most popular drink. This is one that we created. It's called the Fredo. It's our nitro cold brew. So our cold brew is made in-house, the Mexico coffee, and we take it, put it on nitro so it's extra creamy, and then we take milk. We mix in a little bit of cold brew and a little bit of sugar with the cold brew into the milk, whip it up, and it turns into this delicious cold brew drink called the Fredo. It's really good.
Should I have it?
Absolutely.
I love it. It reminds me of like the Harry Potter, you know, like the butter beer drink with the cream on top.
Yeah, I made the mistake of telling some kids it was like their first beer. Probably shouldn't do that.
That's hilarious. Okay, so have you always been like a DIY master? Because I know you've been putting a lot of love into this space, this trailer. So what's the summary you tell people?
Man, I've always liked building things myself, and you know, I figured when it was time to make a coffee shop, it wasn't going to be anything that anybody else was going to do. I was going to have to put in the work. It made sense to build it out of a trailer. Picked up this trailer in Oklahoma, drove it back to Austin, and gutted it and turned it into what you see now.
I know, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You've done such a great job at this space.
Thanks. So here's the milk, and the magic is in this little mixer right here.
I know it's really hard to narrow it down, but what's the most thing that you got at?
I really wanted this place to look a lot like a real coffee shop, and that's hard to do when you're working in a small space in a trailer. I think it really turned out well. People come in and they hang out, people do work in here, and we're just trying to create a really welcoming space for people to try new things. So it's been really great in that respect. I love serving people coffee, and this is definitely the fun part of the business.
I know,
So,
you're really pushing a lot of things, like pushing stuff to its boundaries, I would say.
yeah, we don't have a menu for that reason. It gives me a chance to really go over our specials and the fun things that we do here. So here's the nitro cold brew. You see it's super, super creamy. And then we take this milk and we just pour it on top, and it turns into this real thick whipped milk. It's so good.
Yes, yes.
There you are.
So Eric, what's your morning caffeine fix?
You know, every time I dial in the espresso machine, I have about 6 or 7 half double shots.
That's your morning caffeine
Oh yeah,
fix?
yeah. I don't sleep very well at night. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, your heart rate must be out of the roof.
It sure is.
Well, I know you collect vintage espresso machines, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's actually how we started the business. So Levercraft gets its name from these vintage espresso machines behind you. They're super cool, they're super old school, and they actually make really good espresso. In fact, I have one set up in the back if you want to come try it out.
Yes, can I have that Fredo too? Yeah, let me take that Fredo.
There you go. Let's pop back here. So this back section we built to turn into like a little mini bar for just a couple of people to come hang out in, and then we can do a little more intimate coffee experience. So this machine is the Caravelle. It's got a cult following. It's super cool. It was made in the 50s and 60s, and they're just one of the coolest little espresso machines. They make phenomenal espresso. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for you right now. So we're gonna start with some distilled water that we put in here. The machine's actually already heated up. We added some of our own minerals in, which is really cool. You can actually put your own water in there. It's got what's called an open boiler. So we can mix our own minerals, and then you can dump it out, put new stuff in. But yeah, let's go ahead and pull a shot.
Yes, let's do it. I also remember you telling me how you got these espresso machines, right? From like an old Italian guy.
Yep, I met him actually on eBay. He lives in Italy, and he is a AC mechanic during the day, but he's collected hundreds of these things, and we just started up a conversation, and he's been sending them to me ever since. He's super cool.
That is really cool. So how many do you have as of today?
Ooh, between the shop and at my house, I probably have 15 or maybe 20. But we do sell them occasionally, so.
Well, how long does it take you to perfect a drink?
That is a great question. You know, it really depends. The Fredo took me a few months to figure out how to make that milk. The espresso lemonade was only a few weeks. I had had it once in Mexico and just kind of borrowed the recipe, turned it into my own recipe, and started serving it. Once it tastes delicious, that's when you know it's ready to go. So we've got our tiny little coffee puck there.
Oh, that's so tiny.
It's super cute. We're gonna go ahead and put this in here. We're just gonna double check the temperature, which is what makes these machines really cool, is you can make sure that your temp is what you want it to be for espresso. So we're hitting about 202 degrees, that's perfect. So we're ready to go ahead and pull the shot. I'm gonna use this because this top gets a little hot. And so what we do is called a little pre-infusion. So you pull the lever up, it's gonna fill the chamber with water, and we're gonna go down till we get a couple drips. And this doesn't require a whole lot of pressure. There you go, you got a few drips, and then we're gonna go all the way back up to the top. And what's really cool about these machines is they're super forgiving. So even if you don't do the grind perfectly, or if you do it too fine or too coarse, the espresso still turns out pretty well. And then when you do get it dialed in, the espresso is phenomenal. It makes a really nice short little ristretto.
Whoa. That is so cool.
Yeah, and this thing is like 60 years old. I mean, it's pretty neat.
It is.
You see, it's just a tiny, short little shot. It's like a 1 ounce shot, but they're super tasty.
And how many do you have of these?
Like 20 different kinds of machines. Yeah, a lot. I'm a pretty big nerd. So.
That's cool. You want to finish up in your little seating area?
Yeah.
So in one word, how would you describe the Austin coffee community?
The Austin coffee community is absolutely incredible. I've had people from all different sorts of shops come in. They just come to hang out. They're super supportive. You know, I try to give a discount for everybody who comes in, but they inevitably always tip me way more than they should. We're really lucky to be in Austin. It's such a cool place, and everybody who is into coffee is really into coffee, and we wouldn't be able to be here if it wasn't for people like them. So
let's cheers to that.
Yeah, amen.
Cheers. So what sparked your interest in coffee?
You know, honestly, it was really more about community than anything. You know, I got into coffee, and when I started going down the rabbit hole of espresso and these old vintage machines, it was really the people that I met along the way that made me want to pursue this as a career. And my favorite part about having this space is just being able to serve people coffee in an environment that I can do pretty much whatever I want and give people something new, something interesting to try, and just bring a new perspective to the industry.
And yeah, and help other people really have a love for like espresso like you do. I think
Exactly.
that's so cool.
Definitely.
One thing you didn't know about owning your own business.
Oh man, just how much work it is. It never stops. It's really hard to stop thinking about what you're going to do the next day or how you're going to try to bring in more business. Marketing is definitely the hardest struggle for me, but I think I've learned that the more genuine you are, the better things end up, because people really want to see you for you and not somebody that you're pretending to be.
Another cheers to that.
All right.
Cheers.
Amen. Cheers.
How do you spend your time outside of coffee?
My partner Christina, also the owner of this space, she runs Open House Austin. We found our perfect secret summer thing to do, as the locals do. We go to Deep Eddy Pool and then hit up Pool Burger at the end of the day. A nice dip and a burger. You can't go wrong.
Oh yeah, so relaxing out in the sun and by the water with good
Definitely.
food. So one of the best things about being your own boss.
Ooh. I can do as many crazy things as I want. If somebody wants to bring in some coffee that I've never had and he wants to try to, or she wants to make it on the espresso machine, we can pop it in there. The ability to be as creative as I want is really fun. I think that definitely outweighs the negatives of being your own boss, for sure.
So I know you have a lot of really awesome goals for your shop. What's one goal that you're most excited about?
The big thing for me is building community. And so in doing so, we're gonna have classes, we're gonna have events here, we're gonna have live music. You know, the east side of Austin is growing very rapidly, but there's a need for more spaces for the locals, people who've been here for 20 years, people who are just moving in, to be able to come and hang out and share space with a really awesome community. And so that is by far the most exciting thing for me. You know, that being able to give back to the community and share the privilege that I have with others.
I think that's an awesome goal. Okay, one last question before I let you go
Sure.
and do all the other stuff you have to do. But what's something that people would be surprised to know about you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I grew up with 5 siblings. I had 4 brothers and 1 sister up in Minnesota. My parents decided to adopt 3 more children in college, so I am one of 8 or 9 now, and we're all pretty close. We get along, and I feel incredibly blessed to have such a large family.
Man, that's a big family that you have.
Yeah,
That's pretty
I know.
awesome. That is surprising.
It's crazy.
Well, Well, thank you for spending time with me.
Yeah, I'm so
You're
glad you came back
awesome.
in.
Yes,
Cheers
let's-
again.
Yes, let's do another
Let's do
cheers.
it.
Yes, we'll have to do another cheers.
Cheers. We'll see you later, Tiffany.
Bye.
The fun part. This is so creamy. Wow. That's so creamy. Don't know mustache.